characters who are treated differently in the text and how, I would say King Arthur is kind of treated like, once he gets the sword, he's kind of taken advantage of. And people, they're all trying to like take it from him. Like Sir, Bedivere, I always mix it up.
Yeah.
Kind of like a shady friend to him. Doesn't actually take the sword when he says to rejuvenate him.
Well, I think Arthur and Mordred are treated completely differently because Arthur is like treated as a great king. Every knight tried to follow him and do the quest, no matter how long it will take, like 9 years of the quest. However, Mordred was just about doing the evil thing, like he was treated when he was a baby to kill his father, and that's about it. They are so differently treated. So, question number 2 is, who are the people who have power in this text? What is the source of their power? How they hold on to their power? How is their power expressed? I think at the almost last part of the story, I think Morgana and Mordred had ultimate power over King Arthur, because King Arthur was under the Morgana's sorcery, and then King Arthur couldn't do anything, pretty nothing. Like, he had no Excalibur, he had no...
Once he lost Excalibur,
Yeah.
he pretty much lost his power.
He didn't have any power.
Yeah,
And
he didn't have any power.
He didn't have the Holy Grail. So, pretty much, Morgana and Mordred had power, and they expressed their power by... in the movie, they hanged every knight they killed on the tree like that. They expressed their power like that.
Sorry, my phone, man. I'm like stuck working.
How would the story be different if it were told from the perspective of a minor character? Mordred doesn't really have, like we said earlier, he doesn't have as much power as when King Arthur does, so he's kind of like not looked down upon, but like he's just doesn't, like he won't have any power until he can get older.
Alright. I think the story was almost miserable if you think in the peasant's perspective, like Lancelot, like they were dying because there were no plans, and because there was no Holy Grail. They're just miserably dying and couldn't do anything. They would blame King Arthur, I think. They would think like King Arthur is bad king that couldn't do anything about the 9 months of terror. 9 years of terror. And I think the story will be changed to hate Arthur.
When asked about how the story would be different if it was told in modern times, I believe there would be less elements of a specific religion, because if you look at New Age movies and media in general, you'll see that they try to make things more relatable to everybody, and so they don't exclude anybody. So that's my comment on that.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfair for a whole civilization to blame the king after 9 years of terror, because obviously 9 years of bad times are going on. You think someone should step up and make a change, and instead of making changes, they just all sit there and point fingers at Arthur to the story. So that kind of amazed me in that part.
Where are the Mordreds and King Arthur is Mr. Barrera, the young miner.
does the author omit from the text? Is there anything offensive about the text? I think the text was pretty offensive to the Christianity. Like, the things that Mudra said to his father, like he has the spear that pierced Jesus Christ, and he will be able things that the authors wouldn't do, and the description about the Holy Grail was pretty offensive to Christianity. I think I'm gonna answer about it when I get to number 5.
You pretty much said that on point. Wait, number 5 ties into that one, you said?
Yeah, I'll.
Oh yeah, which groups would be offended? It would be Christians. Jaw.
And changing religion was kind of like a big thing back then. Like everyone really went off religious aspects, and they looked up as like prophets, as like gods, or like a bishop was like holy or something. Like whatever they said was like the word of God. When really, when someone, it's not. I don't think it's right for any bishop to hate any other religion. You know. It's in modern times. That's what I would think, and they didn't really relate that much in the story. Kind of just started pointing fingers at the religions too.
I think to answer number 1, 2, or get my opinion on it, a lot of these religious conflicts that we might see today were also happening back then. If you look at the Western world versus the Islamic world, and how they want to allocate their parts of the world to themselves, and that's kind of the struggle we saw between paganism and Christianity in the movie.
What else? Is there anything else we should talk about other than those questions off the paper?
Any questions, guys?
Questions from the outside?
About Excalibur?
Excalibur, the sword.
Help them out. They gotta get minimum 3 more minutes. Minimum 3 more minutes.
Yeah, we did. We did the.
Oh, yes,
we
ma'am.
said which groups were recommended. We said
Wait,
Christian.
number 5 is like.
Alright.
What?
Question?
I said what happened in the end?
Oh, with the incest baby?
No, that's
Okay, so
early. That's Mordred getting born. The incest babies. That's Mordred. In the end, once he gets it, he.
Once he gets a sword?
Oh no, that's earlier in the story. Once he gets a sword, you become the king. And then he gets betrayed. He's like, King Arthur's injured. And he's telling Sir Bedivere, or whatever his name is, he tells him to go throw the sword into the lake. And he keeps like deceiving him and lying because he wants to become king and get power. And King Arthur's like, I know you didn't just throw it into the lake. And so that's the point of the sword.
Yeah, they had to return the sword back to the lady at the lake so no one could take over its power.
Why did he want him to throw it into the lake?
Because the new king wasn't ready. He wasn't like mature enough, and they thought he wasn't like he wasn't like grown up, and they didn't think he could like hold the responsibility of being a king. So they just threw his sword back in the lake because of the power.
I think it's kind of also symbolic to show like, that was the end of the story, so that kind of, it's like literally like burying the hatchet. It's the final take. What happens to power?
Any other questions from outside? Anybody? Edwin? Sean, I know you got a question.
Yeah, why did Lancelot and Guinevere sleep with each other in the forest, or was that Miss Val?
That was King Uther. Are you talking about the start? That was Uther.
Was it different?
No, wait, what?
With the masks?
No,
No.
Lancelot and Guinevere. Arthur's wife and Lancelot is like the king that like took over while Arthur was with the
Because
Holy
that was
Grail.
that was the prophecy. That was what the witch told them that was what's gonna happen. And well, they were like religious figures
Sean
of
likes
today.
the wood scene.
No, I was asking why. I was asking why.
All right, give them a hand. All right, what was your favorite comment that you heard?
My favorite comment's probably that there'll be less elements with religion and how it's unfair for civilization and just blame Arthur.
Seriously, that was my favorite quote.
Really? You can go ahead and say it again.
My favorite quote is that there would be less elements of religion in the modern movie.
Very good. All right.
My favorite quote was how Arthur and Mordred are different people, and Arthur strives and does more to complete his quest, and Mordred, he's just isn't very wise.
Very good.
Mine was that they said the story was changed to hate Arthur. I thought that was true.
Very good.
My favorite part is when they were talking about how the Christians and the Muslims, they don't try to change their religion completely.
Very good.
Well, I'm gonna go with the first two, like how in modern times, like in order to, they would willing to like please everyone, they wouldn't like talk about like one specific religion.
Very good. Thank you. I know.
I like the way they said Morgan had the ultimate power, while Arthur only had the Excalibur.
Very good. Really?
I thought it was interesting that once King Arthur got the sword, they tried to take advantage of him rather than be proud of him.
Very good.
I like when he said the religious conflict in the text was similar to a religious conflict today, where nowadays it's Western war versus the Islamic war, and back in the day it was paganism versus Christianity.
Very good.
It was interesting how Morgana and Mordred were able to take advantage of Arthur's so easily.
Very good.
I thought it was interesting how they said the story changed to almost hate King Arthur because he's a king and he's supposed to be loved, but they said they hated him, so.
All right.
I like the fact that they started with two people.
That was badass, huh? That was badass. All right.
I liked how they described everything and how it's rude. How they described everything and how they were telling us all about like how the king is not ready to pass it on, so we gotta get someone to throw a sword in the lake.
Thank you. Poor Ansley right there. Had to survive. Look at that. Got a tick? No, that's a car difficulty. Ouch.
I know, it was rough.
All right.
No, not a ticket.
Okay, I like how they said Arthur didn't have any power when he lost Excalibur.
All right.
On point.
I like when he said someone should step up and make a change after 9 years.
Very good.
I liked how they talked about how Mordred and Arthur were both treated differently once they gained power or moved on to different places in life.
Very good.
I like the symbolism of the sword going back into the lake.
Very good.
I like the comment about how King Arthur was the character that was treated most differently because of his power with Excalibur.
All right. Good job.
I just liked how they said Mordred is seen as evil and Arthur is seen as good.
All right.